everybody. Welcome to HBCU Original, and this is the Spotlight Hour. We want to also give a shout out to our partner for today.
Today's show is partnered with HBCU Athletic Conference. Want to be a partner or sponsor? Email us for more info. Now back to the show.
All right, good day, everybody, everywhere. Wow, we are excited today. Listen, this is an awesome day to have someone such as the caliber of the young lady that we have on deck today. We are really excited here at HBCU Original. And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce her. I'm going to try my best. So I want to introduce to everybody and present to some people as well. Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes, Commissioner of HBCU Conference, formerly known as the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. Dr. Barnes is a trailblazer, the only female intercollegiate director in Louisiana, the first female and African-American president of the HBCU, and the first female commissioner within the NAIA. She is dedicated to creating opportunities for women of color in the sports industry through her professional leadership program. So you want a career in athletics. In your university's athletic programs, if you need any expert knowledge and leadership, please look no further. You need to book the athletic strategist, Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes. Thank you and welcome to HBCU Original.
Welcome.
We welcome you.
I am very happy to be here. Thank you for the warm introduction and the invitation to join.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Barnes, I'm Mike Walker. I do the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast, and I'm here today with HBCU Originals. And they've told me quite a few things about you. This interview may be different from the others that you have done because we're going to dig in a deeper path and we're going to go a different direction. So you want to tell us a little bit, Dr. Barnes, you were Gulf Coast Athletic Conference Commissioner, which the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference is now taking on the ownership of the brand, the HBCU. And from what I understand, someone in your position, Dr. Barnes, you are now doing corporate enterprise business. And tell me about what that's like or what it is that you've moved from your previous role to what you're doing now and undertaking and being a corporate enterprise business manager.
Wow. That's a loaded question.
Well, that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking, because I'm going to run wherever you go.
Oh, man. I think I think that's a very good question. I recently just got back home from NACDA, which is the meeting of all the college sports executives. We were in Las Vegas this past week, and I happened to be talking to just a young lady who I've known in the industry, and talking about some of the challenges that I had experienced taking on this new role as commissioner. One of the things I was lamenting about is not having as much time for my mentees. I used to have a 24-hour response time to people. You email me, I can get right back with you. And this new role has required so much more of my time with other people that's business related, right? And these are relationships that you have to develop in order to eventually, hopefully, be able to secure funds, secure dollars. It's not a, hi, I'm Kiki, and then you get a check. It's people have to understand who we are. We've got to explore with a potential partner whether or not there is some alignment with the things that we're trying to do or our missions align. And so that takes time to develop those relationships. So whereas I had all this time and I'd get an email saying, hey, I want to meet with you and learn a little bit from you. Like taking sometimes weeks to respond to people. And I'm like, oh my God, I have become that person. Like, when did that happen? But, you know, you have to, part of elevation is understanding that what got you to one level isn't what's going to make you successful at the next level. So part of, you know, this transition is a necessary transition for us to position this conference appropriately and to do what I was hired to do.
Exactly.
We have a very specific strategic plan
Okay.
that was approved by my council of presidents.
Okay.
Number one was membership growth. We have a goal to get to 16 members by 2025. We're at 13. Still working. Okay. 2, we have got to find other revenue streams. When I took the job, the only revenue stream for our conference was membership dues.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. No corporate partners. That membership dues.
Exactly.
So if this, and I like to call our conference a startup. We're a startup business. We've existed for 43 years with a part-time leader. When the presidents made the decision to hire me full-time, they were committing, these members were now committing to this conference as its own corporate entity, an enterprise that has to be funded. It has to generate revenue in order for this business or this entity to survive. So number 2, you got to find us ways to generate money, because if it's just getting money from the schools, who are also trying to figure out how to get money, tuition, and figuring out ways to continue to grow the institutional brands, then we've got to find some other revenue streams. And then once we get the money, okay, the third part of our strategic plan was conference financial sustainability. So how are we managing what we do bring in, and what does that look like? I always have to give out a shout out to our first corporate partner, Hope Credit Union, who is our banking partner, official banking partner for now the HBCU Athletic Conference. And they have been, I would say, it's one thing to sponsor, to cut us a check and say, hey, we want our logo here. But what we've received from them is more than just, hey, put my logo on this, put my name on this. We've gotten what I would say is sound counsel. Bill, the CEO, Bill Bynum, has really become what I would call a trusted advisor. He and his team, as we're starting to navigate what it would look like now that we're bringing in additional dollars. How do we manage that? Well, you need a partner to help you do that. And Hope Credit Union became that partner. And then the fourth part of our strategic plan was conference office stability. So we have a conference office now. We are in a shared workspace, maroon workspace on St. Charles in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where our headquarters is. So we have a headquarters. But at some point, we got to move from one employee. We got to have more employees. There's a lot more growth that needs to happen to grow this enterprise. And so as we, this whole transition from athletic director now to corporate executive who's now building a startup basically from the ground up has been a very, very, very interesting journey, but a great one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, here's the deal that for the listeners who may or may not know, and I'm going to bring everybody up to speed. Anytime you deal with a corporate enterprise business, or as you have Dr. Baker Barnes here, CEO of it, and she's running it. One of the things you got to manage your revenue. You're going to have your expenses. You're going to step to the client image, and that's the most important part of corporate America. Can your client image exceed expectations? Have you talked about working with corporate partners? And then you're going to look at the safety, stability, okay, and the sustainability, okay, meaning that you want to grow from 13 to 16, Okay. However, how are we going to sustain that 16? Because once we get there, we don't want to lose anybody.
Yeah.
So when I go over those 5 key areas, and I'll go over it again, you have revenue, expenses, client image, safety, security, and stability. Obviously, you talked about revenue. How are we going to vertically integrate the other 5 areas, the other 4 areas, to make that completely successful? If you understand the question, if you need me to clarify a little bit more, I will.
Okay, what other 4 areas we talking about?
Okay, so obviously you got a revenue partner that
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
bring in.
Okay.
You have the revenue, and you've got the credit union. Next, you've got to look at strategically what the expenses are going to be.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we moved into the HBCU brand.
Yes.
Okay, so this is completely different. This is not only representing your conference, okay, under this as a commissioner, this is also going to be the client image for the entire HBCU, because corporate America won't know the difference. And when we reach
Yeah.
that, we got to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay, I know
He said they don't know no difference.
they won't.
they don't know the difference, right? And so, I look at safety and security, and I'm going to paint that a different picture, because we're talking about NIL, and now we're
Okay.
talking about how we're going to protect the asset, okay,
Yeah.
which is the athlete, okay, because believe it or not, it doesn't matter if you're an NIA, where you are, there's pros everywhere, okay, and then you get some stability. So pick one other than revenue. How are we going to vertically integrate those to be successful?
Well, I think hopping on the brand space may be NIL is still the wild west. That's where I will leave it.
Yeah.
It is the it is the wild west. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I don't know where we're going with that. Like, honestly. So I will stay away from it. I say that only because what challenges we have at the NAIA level are not the same as what's happening within the NCAA. The big money that's being made in college sports is at the top 5%. But everybody that's a member of that association now is being forced to have to figure out how they're gonna make payouts. And while those schools that have made some really good money that should be paying out, like that doesn't translate for the rest of the 95%. Like they're not getting the big sponsor deals like those larger schools. So I don't know how they're gonna figure that piece out. For the most part, the NAIA is an association that's mostly private schools. When you look at our conference, we are 11 out of my 13 schools are private HBCUs. They have some religious affiliation, meaning, or they were founded by some religious order.
Okay.
Baptist, we've got Seventh-day Adventists, we've got Methodist, United Church of Christ. So they're getting support that way. For the most part, the emphasis is still been on this, what I would say, student athlete experience. At no point that I'm aware of were institutions, athletic programs getting the kind of money that they're talking about in that space. So I will say that for what's happening at an NAIA level in regard to NIL is different. And I will just say this. The NAIA was the first athletic association to pass legislation that would allow students to make money off their name, image, and likeness.
Wow.
Did this in 2019. Now, because our association's a little bit smaller, it didn't make all the big news. And it didn't make the big news because ain't no big money usually in our space.
Understandable.
But, when 2021, when NCAA kind of opened that floodgate, it was, we kind of been there, but okay. But from a brand standpoint, part of the vertical, and it's kind of related to revenue.
Okay.
I have to figure out other places to make money other than getting money from the schools. And so strengthening the brand is a key part of that. And I think you laid out I think you laid it out. You talked about corporations wanting to be connected. them trying to figure out how the brand value is in alignment with their brand value. And what we found at the beginning of the process, I would show up and say, "Hi, I'm Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes. I am the commissioner of the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference." And they'd be like, "What is that? Not a who, what?"
Exactly.
Like, so it was like, okay, what? And then, so now I'm trying to explain, okay, well, I'm a conference of HBCUs. Okay, where are you? And then I started listing my schools. Now, people would know institutions. So if I called Fisk University, Dillon University,
Yes.
if I call those names, they was like, oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But they did not know us as a collective of HBCUs. Now,
that's unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Wow. Here's where I'll go with that. My daughter, just so you know, my daughter is at Shaw University, plays softball.
Okay, Shaw. Yeah.
She is also the SAC president for Shaw. Okay, and we are a true supporter of Shaw University women's softball, women's empowerment, and Black women empowerment. Okay, and that's the CIAA, and obviously, so when you look at that, and obviously you're going to have basketball, but also women's basketball is extremely popular. And you got some teams that can play with anybody.
We
okay,
do.
so what do you think of leveraging that? And again, my daughter probably reached out as a mentor as she's going to graduate exercise science, and Shaw doesn't have a master's program. So we got to figure something out so she can continue on this journey. But as far as the women empowerment, Black women empowerment, and some of our student athletes who do get scholarships, not necessarily leave the university, but how about stay on, getting hired at the university, start working in those positions so we can build that foundation. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. I would tell you, if you looked at, if I were to do like a quick survey on the current women that I know, colleagues who eventually went to work in sports and became a leader in sports. So my little crew of women athletic directors, most of us probably were former student athletes. I played basketball, ran track in college. And we kind of stumbled on it. Like, I make jokes and tell people all the time, I don't want to work in sports. I wanted to be on TV. Thank you for having me. This is every time I get to do an interview like this, it's like I'm living out my personal dream.
Oh, yes, good. Fantastic. Praise God. Yes.
So thank y'all for the invitation.
All right.
But what I'll say is, I had the opportunity to get a graduate assistantship. That's how I started, to get my master's degree. And I was a graduate assistant coach. And literally that opportunity is the opportunity that literally changed my life and set me on this course for working in sports. The one thing that's really important is developing a network, which is why I developed my program, So You Want a Career in Athletics. One of the things I was trying to, people would get me on these panels and they ask me, well, how did I get here? And I just say, God did. Because this, it wasn't orchestrated by me. But what I'll say is, I'll say what I would say is I'm a faith walker. And as I was making decisions about my life, I would always consult God and say, well, this is where you want me to go? I'm like, okay. And then I go there and I serve with. But on the reflective side of that, now being a commissioner, have been an athletic director, have been a head women's basketball coach, like, I feel like that path was specific for a purpose. And that purpose was for being able to help share what would be to assist other young women who may want to walk in that path. Like, for the most part, I was alone. It was kind of me and God asking him. And there were people that I was connected with on the journey where I was able to glean, but the decision on what step to take, those decisions were mine. Nobody told me what to do. And so part of my mentorship program is about, one, helping young women first develop their personal confidence. You can't lead without confidence. That's one part of it. So there's the confidence work, because you got to believe in yourself first. Then the other part is helping them understand the importance of being very good at what you do and understanding what is your as they would say sometimes, unique value proposition.
Mhm.
What is it that when they bring you to the team that you do better than anyone? And when you can understand that, then you can start looking at opportunities a little bit different and
Mhm.
understanding whether or not this is a good opportunity that you should consider or not. And then the third part of it is creating the network. So once you
Mhm.
kind of come through the program, now you're connected to me, which means you're going to be connected to everybody I know, and I know everybody, right? And a
Yes.
call for me, or if I connect you, could literally change the trajectory of what you're trying to do. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of my thought on why I started the program, because I was
Mhm.
like, man, it would have been nice if I had had another woman to talk to about, I would say, woman things, meaning
Mhm.
that there were times in my career, and for the audience, my first head coaching job was 25 at the age of 25.
Mhm.
So I've been in charge since I've been in the industry. 3 years I haven't been the person that was making the calls. I've been making the calls. And so
Mm-hmm.
as a young person,
Mhm.
you're trying to figure out, like, okay, is it, and a young woman, black woman, is it me? There were unique challenges that I got that my white male coaches didn't get from players.
Mhm.
There were challenges that my white male colleagues didn't get from their colleagues that I
Mhm.
got. And I was like, so is something wrong with me? Or is this kind of part of the deal? Like, am I being irrational when I'm being directed? I'm telling people what it is because I'm the
Mhm.
person in charge, right? Uh,
Yes.
and so it would have been awesome if I had talked to another woman who was
Mhm.
in that role, who could have at least be able to calm my nerves and say, hey, it's okay. Like when I sit with my sister colleagues, we all share war stories about, like, man, I thought I was the crazy one. I ain't crazy.
Exactly. I remember those days. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yes, it's very interesting on those
And
days. And
Dr.
yeah, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, and Vince, I'll let you go. It's a very interesting situation. I wanted to share it. I told I'd share it with you. She's actually the captain of the softball team, and again, SAC president. And George Knox is the athletic director. They got her slotted in after she finished graduate to be the assistant coach. She had an opportunity to help with recruiting. Okay, so we took the recruiting from 9 FTEs to 20 FTEs are going to hit campus, are going to come this fall. Okay, so
She's
we're
in the
trying to
gold.
build that program. So she's in it, and she's graduates. But this is that dilemma if they don't have that master's, because we can't stop there. We've got to keep going, and
Yeah.
so that's what we were going to bring to the table to talk to you about and say, hey, we've got to find a way to make this work. So go right ahead, and I'll let the other guys chime in. I've done enough. Go right ahead. I'll stop. Go ahead, Doc.
Dr. Barnes, I just wanted to touch base on the actual members of the conference, if I
Okay.
may. Is it Dillard University, Edward Waters University, FIS?
No, Dillard University, Fisk University, Philander University, Oakwood University, Russ College, Stillman
Oh,
College, Southern University, New Orleans, Talladega College, Tougaloo College, Voorhees College, University of Virgin Islands, Wilberforce, and Wiley University now.
because we want to get some shine to some of these schools who may not be known, like you mentioned earlier, like some of the larger institutions. So, and I know FIS is worldwide known. So we just want to touch base on some of those, get these schools out there so they can get the students in there and get the athletes you need to make that money. Like Mike was talking about the revenue and the NIL deals and things of that nature, so that we can attract some of those other students to, these schools as well, because I want to see the HBCU athletic conference flourish. And I believe this is the only conference with the actual HBCU acronym in it, if I'm not
Yeah, it's
mistaken.
our name. It's ours. We
And,
own
and
it.
I love that. I love that about that.
I salute
None
you
of
for
the
that. I
none of the
salute you.
other conferences have that in there.
That's
That's
a major
truly.
difference. That's a
Listen,
huge difference.
I was telling
Nope.
John that earlier. I said, "Listen, man, I got to get a T-shirt. This is a game changer." Uh,
Oh, well, let me say this. We definitely are working on a merch kind of situation. So that's coming. That's another one of our verticals in terms of generating revenue. So we definitely working on some things in the background that we're going to release throughout the year. It's going to be something special.
Now,
And I already got
Oh,
some help in.
and which school is the largest school in the conference by chance?
Say what?
Which school is the largest school in the actual conference? Is it Fisk or is it Dillard? Or is it
Southern New Orleans, I think.
Okay, Southern New Orleans.
They're public.
And what's the student body for the 5,000 students?
I don't know that numbers. But you know what? I'm glad you asked it though, because that's something I should know. So I'm going to get that info. But I'm for sure Southern will be the largest because they're a public institution.
Okay.
The rest of our schools are private. I can tell you, our average enrollment, removing the public school, is probably between 700 and 1,500.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. That's Shaw U. Gideon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's key about, one of the things we sell about our institution is, again, it's a smaller environment. It's where you get a chance to really know the community. You get to know your professors. You're not just another number, another butt in the seat. Like, you really are someone that people are going to fully invest in. And I think that, it's kind of, I would say, one of the selling points of attending a school in our conference versus, some of the other larger institutions.
Hey, you know what, Dr. Barnes, I wanted to ask you.
Go ahead, Vince. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just want one more. Is Wilberforce part of your conference as well? Wilberforce?
Yeah, Wilberforce is, they'll be spending their first year with us this year.
So, we just had a guest on our show, and Rachel Norton. She's going to be the actual women's head coach, basketball coach.
Okay.
So we had her on our show as well. And I just realized that I was telling John and Mike, I said, I believe that we just had her on the show, and she's a part of the conference. So, well, they will be a part of July 1st, right? So,
yep.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting a chance to meet her. We actually have our all conference meetings next week. We'll be at
nice.
Yeah. So really excited about that. That's our all conference meeting is, opportunity to break bread for a moment, where everybody not competing, when people are nice to each other.
Of course.
After the season over with, everybody chilling out for a moment. So Philander will be hosting, of course, a reception type opportunity for us to laugh and talk and, just connect with one another. And then on that Tuesday, all of our meetings happen with the presidents, ADs, different coaches groups. We discuss the issues of the day, things that are coming. I do my address, where we'll kind of walk through accomplishments from the year and then talk about what we're going to do for the next year. So it's going to be fun. We'll have, again, all our new members will be in attendance, and it's exciting.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I'll circle back on something you talked about, merchandise. And, when I was doing my research, I looked at Coppin State. Coppin State used to do about 60, 70,000 a year merchandise. Now they moved up. They're doing about 500,000 a year. Okay. So that merchandise, that merch, is extremely important as a revenue stream of the multiple revenue streams that you've had. And I'll circle back on another one because I come from AT&T, 23 years in corporate business, national business markets. We never, ever recognized, when you said HBCU. And it can be offensive to some because I had to move it when I communicated with the Shaw, with the University of Shaw, because the corporate America recognizes the university. When you say university, they recognize that. So I don't know with that, just thinking outside of the box, because you're going to have about 20 revenue streams and you can capitalize on each and every one, whether it's the merchandise, whether it's HBCU, whether it's women empowerment, basketball. Everybody is looking to say, how can we get involved? And that could turn your conference, I'm not going to say to Division I or move you out, but it can put you in a different platform. And when I ask that, what's keeping you up at night? Because normally as CEOs, every time they try to go to bed, there's something keeping them up. What's keeping you up at night?
What keeps me up at leadership in the country right now.
Okay.
Just all around. I think we have an integrity problem in this country, just in general. And so I'm always concerned about how all of those things will affect, how does that trickle down and affect those of us who are trying to do the good work. Leadership is hard. I've met when you kind of bring that down to, I would say, athletics and university level. Like, I will talk to people and I'll hear people saying things like, oh, I want to be the athletic director. They want to be a head coach. They want to be a president. But when you ask them the why, like, the why is because they're trying to get the benefits of the role. It's like they want the perks, but don't want to do the work.
Exactly.
And I will say that when I'm looking, when I think about the work that I do, I've become elevated for doing good work, but it's always been about the work and trying to make sure that people who are wanting to sit in these chairs and these seats and be at these high level and run institutions, run athletic programs, run athletic conferences, like you've got to have a heart for this work. There is a reason why a lot of our institutions are now celebrating 150 years, right? These programs, these athletic programs still exist. There's a reason why they still exist, why they were able to grow. And I'm thinking about the Eddie Robs of the world who established solid programs because there was no benefit for them to this work other than ensuring that those who came after would experience better than what was present at the time.
Wow.
And
yes.
What I will say is we need people who are committed to the work, not to being VIP everywhere. I'm gonna get flued out. That's what they like, they flying over here.
Not just having the title.
I get to sit over here. I get free tickets here. I get a credential over here. Like there's some real work that needs to be done to ensure that this conference is going to survive another 43 years. There is work to be done to ensure that our HBCUs are going to be here another 150, especially considering the leadership crisis we have in this country right now. So my appeal, what keeps me up is, where are the hard workers? Like, where are the people who like the Harriet Tubmans of the world, the Martins of the world, the Roses of the world, the Malcolms of the world, who really was like, well, I may not ever experience or benefit from the work I'm doing, but I know that I gotta get it done.
Amen.
And I'll do it by any means necessary.
Amen.
That is, and I will tell you, that's who I am. Like, it's about the work. Now, again, we in a different time. We have a way more benefits than what our predecessors had. But when I examined and I've read and understood, you could clearly see that it was about the work for them.
Yes.
And that they were so committed that they dedicated their life to the work. And I'm going to keep saying that, and not the purpose. And so, if you're listening, you're in our community, you desire to do this work, really understand our challenges and have some solutions. Like, I got hired. If you want to lead, you need to have solutions and understand the importance of the relationship work. One of the things I'm working with young leaders is helping them understand you really don't have control over anyone. I don't care if you do have a title. People have to decide whether they will allow you to lead them.
Yes.
And they will determine
Yes.
that based on your heart, how you show up. And if you show up crazy, people go act crazy. And,
Understood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I'm,
So,
I'm, I'm, gonna,
you
I'm
know
gonna
what,
leave
Dr.
that there.
There you go. John, go right ahead.
So I wanted, and so Dr. Barnes, I
Can you
wanted to
guys
ask
hear
you a
me? Okay.
question
So I
around.
don't know, John,
I
if you
asked
can hear me or
Magic
not.
Johnson. I asked Magic Johnson this question about his athletic, you know, ability, his prowess, and how those attributes of being an athletic athlete, a coach, how have they translated over into now your leadership in your business and how you know pour into other young leaders?
Oh man. Oh well, I will tell you. Everything I learned about leadership, I learned on the court and on the track. The understanding that as a leader, every member on the team has value. That particular role, you can only learn that when you've had to play a team sport. When you've had success, when you realize that there were people, and I wound up being one of the top players on all of my teams. I was always a starter. I once I became good, I was a starter on all the teams that I played once I worked my way there. But I don't become a starter without the people who was pushing me every day. If I didn't have the people who were sitting on the bench to practice against, how do I get better? So any success
Mm-hmm.
that my team had, even though I may have scored the most points, still
Mm-hmm.
don't happen without the people who were in the trenches with me every day. So when you understand that every person has value, that changes the way you approach leading and guiding and building relationships. And that particular approach is the approach that I've taken with leading organizations and leading people. Everybody on my team has value, and I have the
Yeah.
responsibility as the leader to not only empower them, but sometimes when you have people on the team who do not see the value, then it's my responsibility to make sure they understand how valuable they are so that we can do our best job at achieving success, whatever that success is, winning a game or getting the highest GPA or raising so much money or coaches getting coach
Yeah.
of the year, whatever it is, we're all a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's one part. The other part that I would say that I learned from leadership, and again, leadership is hard, is having courage because you're going to be out front. And if it's all
Mm-hmm.
great, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get all the credit. And if it's all bad, you're going to get all the blame.
Yeah.
Um, and guess what? That's that's part of the game. Like
Yeah.
this when you signed up to lead, you signed up for that. Like I knew when I got on the court, when I became the player that was the go-to, like
Yeah.
if I make the shot, it's all great. If I miss that shot though, oh.
Yeah.
But guess what? Courage.
Courage.
Courage. Courage is a part of that. And number two, if your team has now decided that they trust you enough to lead them, don't let them down. Be
Mm-hmm.
worthy, be worthy of their respect and support. And what does that mean? That means that you won't ask them to do nothing you won't do.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with the people you lead, but always tell them the truth. Meaning that
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell people what they want to hear all the time, but I can tell them in a way that's respectful and offer some solutions that will help them move from the point of A to point B where we need them to be so we can win. And so
Yes.
there is a nuance to how you're able to do that. Um, and there are times in sports where you don't have time to play around. If we in the middle of the game, I don't have
Yeah.
time to negotiate. I need you to course correct right now.
Right now, yeah.
Because right now, if we don't course correct, we don't meet our goal. So
That's
helping
right.
an organization or a member of the team understand how critical it is for them to course correct on behavior, and that I still support you, but what you're doing doesn't work. Here's how I would like for you to course correct, means I have to be very clear with them about what needs to change. And then when they make the change, tell them, that's why you my dog. That's why
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Hey.
to a conversation. I said, you sound like my old coach. I learned that at
Yeah. Look.
I
Hey,
went to Bowie.
hey, Dr. Boy, I'm sitting down here taking notes.
And let me get my and let me shout my HBCU out, Bowie State. You know what I mean?
Come on, Bowie State. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. People that have worked on a team with me, we don't do number win.
Yeah.
Come on.
What I learned how to do was I learned how to win. And what I learned in basketball, and this is why I will always say to anyone, if find you an athlete that was pretty successful, that became a leader, you want that person on your team. Because what I understood was that leadership was situational. There are times where even though I'm in charge, I'm not the expert. Case in point, 2020, we in a pandemic. I don't know nothing about diseases. I mean, I took biology class. I mean, I took biology, I took chemistry, but I don't have the expertise as a medical professional. Right. So you know who was leading? Who was my lead advisor? My athletic training staff. Oh wow! I'm not making no move unless they tell me to make the move. I'm asking for them. So in a role, we in the game. Right now, I'm on shutdown because they got me. They defended me because I'm the player. And now I got my teammate over here. They the ones that's open. It's like, you the expert now. Let's make this thing happen. We putting the ball in your court. You tell me what we need to do. And then I'm going to direct the rest of the troops.
Yeah.
So when you understand these things, then you don't show up as a leader thinking you know everything and not listening to nobody on your team. Like, how do you show up and you got all the answers? Now, what I'll say is, I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. There you go. And that's the whole point of having a team. It's why I chose basketball over track. Because the opportunity to work with a group of people and create magic, no pun intended.
No, hold on now. We listen, we created magic on track and field now. I was a track and field starter. We created a lot of magic. You know?
Create magic with people, like it is unmatched. It is unmatched to go through hell with somebody and to work hard and then to get all the way in. Like, there is nothing better than that. And so when I enter into the workforce and I'm having to lead. I'm having to lead people older than me, people younger than me. Like, I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure out how do I get people bought in to a vision bigger than what we desire individually. And those nuances around leadership, courage, toughness, all of those things I developed on the court and on the track. So I could stand toe to toe with somebody. I cuss people out. I mean, Lord forgive me. Because sometimes you got to.
Hey. Sometimes you got to pull a Michael Jordan, pull a Lance Dance off.
With love, though.
With love.
Dr. Barnes, how do you with all this going on, how do you maintain? You have your family. You're married, correct?
Yeah.
And your kids. How does that translate to your kids and things of that nature? Are they following your footsteps or?
No, so what I would say, they're forging their own paths. I would say that I'm super proud of them. I will say, so my children. We have a blended family, so I have 2 stepchildren, and they've been raised by 4 parents. And what I would say in terms of my relationship and what I've been able to help them do, I think they've been able to learn how to focus because they watched me grow as a leader. They were babies around the gym. And they are fiercely supportive of anything that I'm doing. But each of them is that one is 25, Caitlin's 25, Mark Jr. is going to be 24 this year. He's working on a master's degree in education. And what it is kind of weird. They are working in higher ed.
They follow you. They follow your path.
Man, they following you.
So
me and John just talked about that. We said, with our children, we've been in education for like 20 some years.
And here they come.
I've done a lot of, like in the media side, the graphic and stuff like that, and a lot of times they don't want to follow you. They don't want to, because the legacy that I left, they don't. It's like, I don't think I want to follow after him. That's a tough act to follow. So it's like, it's challenging. Challenging.
Well, and I would say, having the opportunity to work my entire career on college campuses, I very much believe in everyone has their own path. Right. So they were never expected to do what we were doing. What we've been trying to help them do and what I've had the privilege to do working on campus is to be that person that's, I would say, a guide. I'm the person they could come and talk to about what they think they want, their desires, and then to help point them in a direction that helps them discover their path. That's what I believe this life is about. Again, remember I told you I had one idea, and then I wound up on this whole different path. And honestly, I feel like I discovered something new or a new skill, and I'm like, I didn't even know I could do that, right? Well, same thing with them. They're now in the early stages of their career. They're where I was when I first started, 25. That's when I got my first head coaching gig. And now I'm in charge. And now what? And so
the head coaching gig. Where did you coach? Again?
Southern University of Shreveport, junior college. The junior college.
Wow.
Program for the system.
So you and John, y'all ballers, huh? Y'all basketball stars.
Yeah. That's why, I can relate to you so much. And even when I was hearing you talk, I felt like I was listening to my coach, because you have that I can tell that you have that same fire as if you were actually coaching, your team. Now you're coaching execs. They're still part of a team. It's just, the conversation, the essence of the conversation is still the same. But the duties are different.
Yep. There you go. It's no different. And I think that's when we start to discover our unique gift. And when you think about being on the court, when you realize the thing you could do, like when I realized I was a jump shooter, I could shoot no threes. I could defend, anticipate a ball, and I could shoot jumpers. Like that was my game. And once I settled in on whatever team I was on, I knew how I could show up and contribute. I knew how to help the team. And what we're trying to do in all situations is help people figure out, okay, what is it that I do? How do I, because when you understand what you do, then it makes it easier for you to determine what opportunities make sense for you. So in all of this, I learned that I'm a leader. I've been called out to lead since I was probably 6 years old. I've been asked to speak. I was always getting the assignment, whether it was coming from peers, whether it was coming from a teacher, whether it was coming from a counselor. Everybody in my life at some point affirmed that you need to lead and you need to speak, because those were the assignments that I was getting I was the captain. That was the vote of the teammates. There were some years in high school I was made captain because my coach made me the captain. When I was with my church group, we go be the visiting church, and somebody got to get up and they got to accept a welcome on behalf of the visiting squad. Pastor get up. I'm up here to thank the guests for what, and I'm sitting up here like I've been extemporaneously speaking.
That's right.
Preparing for this all my life. So then, as I'm starting to kind of figure out what path is open to me, then I start getting jobs that are aligned with the skill set that I have.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
so if I'm on the team, and
Mhm.
remember, because leadership is situational, when I show up on a team, I don't have to be in charge. But
Mhm.
if a particular situation calls for my skill,
Yeah.
then I have to, like,
Gotta
have you
show
ever,
up.
and coaches will understand this. Coaches will understand this, right? Ain't
That's right.
nothing worse than you having a kid that you watch every day work. They can shoot the three. They
Mhm.
get the ball right in the spot they need to get it in. They can shoot the three. Then they turn around and look at you and be like, "Can I shoot the ball?"
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Can you
right.
shoot it? You better shoot it.
If
Right.
you in your spot and you know we need the three, shoot the three.
That's right.
You have to
Shoot the
know the
three,
act,
baby.
right? So, but
Yes.
that requires confidence. So what I'm saying to you
Mhm.
is I developed confidence early. So when I showed up in the work world and there was an opportunity to lead or speak, I was like, oh, that's what I do. Even if they were asking for a volunteer, I eventually started raising my hand because I was like, that's what I do. I know that's what I do, and I'm gonna do it well because that's what I do. And then
Well, I'm
the
going to
rest is
definitely
kind of
challenge you. Yeah.
history.
I'm going to definitely challenge you to that jump shot. As a matter of fact, we're going to have Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes day. I want you out there on the court and take some jump shots. I want to see what you're talking about.
Look at that follow through.
But we're gonna battle you and John. You against John here. We're gonna put you on the court and see who can shoot the best.
That is so
But
funny.
Dr. Kiki Barnes, this is so we definitely love having you on the show. We want to welcome you back as much as possible to get that conference out there. Anything we can do. We will work extremely hard to push the HBCU athletic conference. We love what you're doing. Me and John talked for hours. He said, "Man, this is
Are
going to
you
be a great thing
serious?
here. It's going to be a great thing here." Yeah, we see that. We see the vision. And John's a visionary. So now John always has this saying, "John, you want to put that out there in the world."
What's that? Oh, I have a T-shirt, Dr. Barnes, that says, "Feed your focus, starve your distractions."
It is.
And it's a T-shirt actually, in the schools, a lot of the kids wear it, and I use it as a bar that we can, we can ascend to. We can get there, but it's something that that is the requirement. Like
Yeah.
I'm requiring you to do this. Like you got to feed your focus because if you don't, then we're gonna be all over the place. You know what I mean? And so if I can get kids on one accord, that we can all be on the same page, then guess what? We can reach our goals. We
That's
can
it.
do the things that are necessary for us to do. And so that's the whole key. That's the whole key. And I'm so excited to be talking to you. And this interview was everything that I hoped and so much more because I felt like I was talking to my coach.
Yeah.
It felt like that. And so I want to thank you so much. And I know your mom and dad, were so proud of you. And just looking at your interview when you were, I think it looked like you were doing a TED talk or something,
Yeah.
and you talked about your mother and father and the attributes that both of them have placed in you. Your father being the disciplinary, bringing that discipline, that foundation. Helping you see it clearly so you can change it effectively. Having that kind of spirit, and your mother championing the confidence in you that you would speak, like you were talking about before. And
Yeah.
so you embody all of that.
Yes.
When I hear you speak, I hear everything that they poured into you. And so I'm so delighted. I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to do this. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
It's
Thank
genuine. It's just
y'all.
it's just genuine. Let me ask you a question. So you have anything new for the conference coming up? Anything that we need to get out there to the public, to our audience? Um,
Well, I will say, we're trying to figure out, our big promotion for basketball, but we want everybody to really be excited of know our basketball championship is going to be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for the next 2 years at Stillman College. We are really excited about that. And we're going to be doing a lot of promotion. We want to get people out. We want them to travel. We want them to come and support our members, our teams, learn about our schools. We hope that we will be able to do another college admissions fair again this year with the championship. So that's one of the creative things we've been trying to do. You know, it's not just about sports. It's about building our institutional brands as we're growing this thing together. So doing the admissions fair is a part of what I would say is our community outreach part of this. You know, so we hope we will be able to replicate that again this year. Of course, that stuff is forthcoming. So, you know, we hope you follow us. We'll be getting ready to transition our website to hbcuac.org. July 1, I think, is when we slated to switch everything over. So we almost ready with the design. It's gonna be nice and sleek. So we hope that you all will follow us. I think they'll be all of our social handles changing. So be on the lookout on July 1. Everything will be HBCUAC, and we're really excited about
if we can get you back on here July 1, just a quick introduction, and tell people about what's going on with the new platform, new social media campaign, new actual logos and everything else. I mean, you're welcome to come back. I mean, bring your team on. I mean, definitely.
All right, we'll figure that out. I look at my schedule. I feel like I'm somewhere, but we'll figure it out.
Let's make sure.
Danny is the super guru. She'll get us all together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now we've been talking. Definitely. We definitely appreciate. We like to once again welcome. I apologize. We like to introduce and welcome Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes to the show with JLWILLIAMS and myself, Money Mike. We also would like to put our donation intro in real quick.
Donate to the HBCU original cause. Help out our broadcast to continue to get out quality info to the viewers.
And so we like to always let the guests just give us some last words to the public and our audience.
Oh man, see, y'all ain't tell me I was gonna have to give a last word.
Hey, you a leader.
Hey,
we need a leader
what
right
I'll
now.
say is, if you're somewhere close to an HBCU, make a gift to any HBCU that you know of. Supporting HBCUs is a worthy cause. We need your support. We hope you'll follow us on all of our platforms as well. So be on the lookout for hbcuac.org. That's coming real soon, and all of our handles will be at HBCUAC. So we hope you'll follow us, stay positive, and support HBCUs.